This is a good one for you. This might have been the most anticipated game of the week, or at least of the weekend of the Saturday and Sunday games. Sassuolo and Atalanta.
Yeah, we got to see our boy CDK over there at Atalanta. The game started.
That's another reason why I'm drinking tonight, by the way.
Yeah. We talk about guys who did score last year and scored this year. We just talked about Belotti with Roma, CDK, which we'll get to in a second. But this two teams here. Atalanta is a team who last year kind of found a new defensive mold at times. They proved that they can play defensive, or they can play. They still have the attacking ability when they want to. Sassuolo, they are your fun bad team where they can score a lot of goals and they give up a lot of goals. This had the potential of being one of those high scoring games. It wasn't. It was more that a defensive game, but there were still opportunities in this game. No goals to speak of in the first half. There were some close opportunities, a nice little set piece play by Loriente and company. I think Loriente and Defrel early in the first half, where Loriente took a shot off. Musso had some big saves in this game. Good to see him back on good form. But yeah, both teams, exchanging opportunities. Zapata, rumors, is he going to Roma? Is he not? Had a chance to really solidify his spot in the starting lineup, and had a couple of chances, but nothing really great. Coop Miners is obviously going to be the guy who's going to be pulling the strings in this game. He's got some good opportunities in the first half. Second half comes on. We had a couple substitutions there. De Ketelaere came on for Zapata. Pasalic came on for Ederson. Ederson, who I liked here in this game, as well as CDK. CDK didn't look like anything like the player we saw at Milan last year. Immediate impact in this game. I think he had one of the highest scoring opportunities of this game. I think 3 or 4 chances, good chances in this game. But game went on for several minutes after he came on. Good opportunities. Looked like Atalanta was coming in waves. Finally, after a couple misses by De Ketelaere, he gets a header, gets a goal. Looked like it was saved there by good old John Hamm, looking like Concili, but goal line judge came in fact right away. Goal, ball crossed over the line. CDK gets the goal, first goal in Serie A. Obviously, the whole team loves to see that, and assisted by Ruggieri with a great cross into the box to get him that pass. And then they would score another goal. What's his name? Zortea. Nice goal from distance and stoppage time. But Atalanta, it was a defense, almost not a defensive masterclass. Sassuolo had their chances, but Musso looked very good in this game. 2-0 victory for Atalanta. A game where, as you said, many eyes were on this to be the entertaining game of the weekend. It was still entertaining, just wasn't the goal fest that maybe we were hoping for. Atalanta showing that, hey, we have no European play this year. You have to keep an eye out for us, and we'll see if the Sassuolo result is an indicator how the season will go. But for them, their new boys, Zortea and De Ketelaere and Ederson, all look good in this game, I think, in the second half. And so, yeah, it's maybe a good sign for Atalanta. What are your thoughts on this game, the quote-unquote supposedly game of the weekend?
Here's something where I'm in lockstep with Bonetti on with Atalanta. We always said Atalanta doing Atalanta things, and when they really did them, it's when their wingbacks were productive. And I think that the play of their wingbacks last year and maybe even the year before it dropped off. I thought Zappacosta, Ruggieri, both going forward, looking good, putting pressure on Sassuolo. Mm-hmm. Ruggieri getting the assist for the De Ketelaere goal, and then Zortea scoring. So when the wingbacks are part of the production, Atalanta's really, really good and really, really dangerous. We saw that here today. Could be a sign of things to come. You got Coop Miners doing some playmaking, Ederson doing some playmaking. De Ketelaere may have a resurrection to the chagrin of us Milanisti. Okay? Yeah. And then there's no shortage of strikers. It's a shame that El Bilal Touré is out for a while here with the injury. That would have been nice to see him showcased here. But you still have Zapata. You still have Lookman. You still have some guys there. Obviously, they sold Højlund. So, it almost feels like they can constantly interchange their strikers and still be productive up there. So but that was the biggest takeaway I had. I think the performance of the wingbacks, Zappacosta, Ruggieri, and then Zortea when he came in to score the second goal. And I like the role for Kolasinac. I think he brings a veteran presence.
Oh, for sure.
to Jim City, to Scalvini, to Loy when he's going to be in there. He doesn't have to be bothered with going forward and making darting runs, and he's in a position where he can still come forward and do some dangerous things on that left foot. So I like how they're using him. I think it's very smart how they're using Kolasinac too in the framework of the team. So great start for Atalanta.
And I think, this heat map kind of shows it. I mean, it clearly shows Atalanta on the right-hand side where they were using the width. There's the wing-backs coming into play, and they're really using their width to their advantage. But, Sassuolo did the same, similar things to, that, not to discount that they played badly in this game. They played well. Even, guys like Vigna and Toljan, and they used the width to their advantage as well. It's just that Atalanta were better defensively than Sassuolo were. Musso obviously came up with some big saves. But Atalanta clearly are going back to this wing-back, big wing-back strategy, and with the talent that they have on their team and Gasperini's system, this is to their advantage every time. Whether they play a more defensive style play or an attacking style, is getting their oppositions to get stretched out to open up these pockets in the middle, so their guys like Koopmeiners can come in, or Zapata, or whomever can get it, and especially Pasalic, right? These guys get in the middle, get their opportunities to score goals, and so glad to see Atalanta is going back to this, because it's going to make them even more dangerous no matter what kind of style of football they play.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Sassuolo side, noteworthy that Berardi's not in the lineup or on the bench.
Might be going north. Might be going north.
Yep. Might be going where there's mountains. New names defensively, but nothing changed. I mean, Sassuolo still give up a lot of big chances. They're just going to have to outscore teams to have a chance in this thing. That's the one takeaway. Well, we'll see what happens, in the coming weeks. But against Atalanta, they just kind of felt they fell prey to him a little bit. Consiglio had to make some saves. The loss of Fratese is already felt.
Yeah.
I know they signed a player. I just made a comment about him too.
I remember last week you were talking about it, but I can't. Name escapes me.
Yeah, that should just plug in and be the. And I think he was on Alkmaar. He was one of Reinder's teammates. But the name escapes me. I'm sure somebody will comment here on our X page or our Twitter page or whatever it's called now. So, but that's. Yeah, that's the guy that, looking at his kind of what he did and his role on that team in the Eredivisie, will be expected to plug in and do what Fratese did. But I think that, his presence in midfield was sorely missed.
Maxime Lopez, I thought, performed fairly well. He's going to be a key guy for them this season.
He was all right. Yeah.
Goal line. He had a goal line block at one point as well, and most of the passes came through him. So I think he's going to be instrumental in this team, finding the creativity, finding their width, and getting the goal scoring opportunities. Is it begins and starts with him. It's very similar to what we said earlier about Lobotka. He is that transition guy, and for his diminutive size, he's going to be relied to be doing what he does well, right? It sounds stupid to say, but he's not going to beat you with speed. He's not. He just can't. But he can read the game very well, get position on his opposition, and then he has really good vision. He always had, even when his days when he was in Ligue 1, and finding those guys who are the playmakers, Loriente, the Defrels of the world, giving them the ball and let them go do their thing. That's going to be the key for Maxime Lopez. If he can do that successfully, Sassuolo can get some goals. Defensively, that's a different question, but at least on the offensive side, Maxime Lopez will contribute a lot, I think.
Well, Sassuolo is next going to get rich off of Armand Loriente.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh man, he's a player. I think he's the one guy that really gave Atalanta problems throughout the whole game. He's gonna. I mean, we saw his quality last year. He's carrying over this year.
Yeah.
I mean, and if Berardi leaves and is going to Juventus, Loriente is going to be dependent on to do a lot. And the concern that I have with Sassuolo going forward is that if they don't get a replacement for Berardi before the window shut, and Defrel is just not the answer. Loriente could end up having a subpar season just because it's going to be so easy to key in on him. Yeah. It's going to be so easy to shade your shape over in his direction, because while teams do that against Milan and Rafael Leao, he's got Teo Hernandez behind him. So, there's extra dynamics that you have to deal with. Where you're not terribly worried about Matias Vigna getting around Loriente, and creating more trouble on that left hand side. So, but Sassuolo is getting that's the next guy they cash in on.
I mean,
no problem with making that declaration right now.
And to your point about, everyone's going to start shitting off on Loriente, I think DeFrel's emphasis on the right-hand side is going to have to be that much greater, where he's going to have be a bigger impact than he has been. And, Bayrami coming over, that's the guy, who he did really well last year. Now he comes over to Sassuolo and filling that 10th spot. He should be able to create a lot of opportunities here for them. But, again, Loriente is going to get a lot of attention, as he should, because he's a fantastic player. But Bayrami and DeFrel are really going to have to set up Pinamonti a lot more and make themselves multi-dimensional versus just a one-trick pony, because teams will figure out Loriente is good and then shut him down, right? Napoli were so successful because they have all their pieces are great, right? And you focus on one, they're going to beat you somewhere else, right? Osimhen or Politano or wherever. Sassuolo don't have that. Atalanta are capable where they can mix it up. They got so much talent all around. Gasperini knows how to plug and play and move guys around, and everybody's successful. Sassuolo's got to figure out Dionisi. This is going to be a big season for him, because he cannot figure that out with the loss of Fratesi. It's going to be a short season for him. And so, we like what Dionisi brings to the league and to Sassuolo in particular, because he's almost like a De Zerbi disciple, but he's going to have to find a way to wrinkle this up a little bit and find a new way for Sassuolo to attack teams, because, Atalanta kind of figured them out in this game, and we'll see. They got to make some adjustments, but we'll see. I'm hoping Dionisi can remain, because I have this is a manager that I have high sights on, and I expect a lot out of him. So, to be determined.
To be determined, but we'll see. But it's a Sassuolo team that you're starting to see the beginning of a little bit of a drop off. It could get bad. We'll see. We'll give this a few games and see where they are at.